Bonjour mon petit chifflet, Amber here, and it's beginning to look a lot like 2021. We are in the last handful of days of December in 2020. Thank you, God. I keep saying I don't know why I'm talking about 2021 like it's just gonna poof be completely different than 2020. But at least it'll feel good to say that 2020 is over. Anyway, all that being said, it's the time of year where we gather around to rank some books. This is the time where we on the bookternet are recapping our reading years and sharing our favorite books, reads of the year, our least favorite reads of the year, and you know, what we're looking forward to reading in 2021. I, as always, am running behind. So today I'm sitting down, we're gonna work our way up. Today I'm sitting down to share some books that did not tickle my pickle this year, and I'm gonna share some disappointing reads. My most disappointing reads of the year, and I'm gonna stop you right there because I see you fixing your little fingers to tell me all the reasons why we shouldn't do worst reads and most disappointing reads, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to stop you in your tracks and tell you I could not care less what you think. We're not doing this discourse, we're not doing this here. Okay, cool, find someone else to harass. I don't care. We've been doing best and worst videos since the beginning of booktube, so stop. You know, reviewers review things. Let me stop and let me get into this list. I've got my trusty reading journal, and I made some cute little lists at the back. I'm not gonna let you see too much because then it'll spoil the whole video. So regarding my worst or most disappointing reads of the year, I have 7. I only have 7. I will say all around I've had a pretty enjoyable reading year. I'm about to read my 60th book of the year, which isn't bad for me. So I'm going to do this. I have the list written out and I'm going to work my way up with most disappointing to most disappointing, I suppose. So number 1 is a reread. I'm not even gonna work my way into it. It's New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. As you know, I have been working my way through the series for the first time in years. I have 2 more to go, and I've been debating whether or not I'm going to continue the series on this channel for a plethora of reasons, but I think I want to, just so that I can complete it, just so we can then move on. This reread has been something. We read Twilight back in 2019. There's a vlog. I mean, that's the purpose, because I'm vlogging my experience revisiting this tragic, awful series. This book is so much worse than I remembered it being. New Moon and Eclipse had always been my favorite books when I was, you know, in my Twihard stage, but my God, first and foremost, New Moon is basically Jacob's book, so this is really when Stephanie hops into her anti-indigenous racism bag. Beautiful in an exotic way. And then Bella is so manipulative and codependent and just unhealthy. I don't have too much of a problem with Jacob in this book. We know where this is going, so like obviously I'll discuss that mess if I ever get around to Breaking Dawn. I'm not going to talk about New Moon. If you want to hear my thoughts about New Moon or watch me read and rage through New Moon, I'll link the reading vlog down below. Okay, so the next book, this book I've had for a very long time. I don't remember, I think I got it from Book Outlet back before I found out they considered me unfamily friendly. It's Within These Walls by Anaya Alborn. I read this book this year because I wanted to read more adult fiction, and I wanted to get more into like horror and thriller books. I have to like stress horror because it always sounds like I say horror when I say horror. And the premise of this book sounded really intriguing. An author and his daughter move across the country into this house that was the site of this cult ritualistic suicide murder, and the author is supposed to be interviewing one of the only people allowed to interview the leader of this cult, but his rule is he has to live in the house. And there's a paranormal twist, and all of that really, to me, felt like the makings of an incredible book, and I was left so disappointed. It just fell so flat to me. There was so much potential. The book could have done so much, and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. I think shockingly I said, hold on, let me see if I can find the note where I said this. Yeah, I actually really liked the beginning of the book, when we're kind of like finding out what happened in the house and meeting, you know, the members of this family, this cult. I wish it had, I said this in my wrap up or whatever, but I wish it had more of the family aspect and more of that actual story. And shockingly of all, like, if you know me, you know this is almost blasphemy. I could have done without the paranormal storyline, honestly, because I think it took away from the actual story, especially the way it the climax of that story. And if you know me, or if you've been around here for a while or pay attention to anything I've ever said, I really love most things, I'll say, paranormal and supernatural, so sucks. Moving right along, the next book is an arc that I read. Well, it's out now, but I read it as an arc. And it's part of a series that I've been a romance series that I've been really enjoying. And it's Tools of Engagement by Tessa Bailey, which is part of the Hot and Hammered series, which includes Fix Her Up and Love Her or Lose Her. I think there's another one that is coming out or just came out, I don't remember. But like I said, I loved the first two. Fix Her Up is actually the book that got me into romance, adult contemporary romance. I liked Love Her or Lose Her even more than that. I think that's an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. But Tools of Engagement, those two facts, taking those two facts into consideration, Tools of Engagement wasn't it for me. I didn't like, what is her name? Is it Beth? I don't remember. Yeah, I didn't like Bethany. I just could not vibe with her character, and that's something I hadn't experienced before. I don't think that's anything I've experienced with many romance novels, at least not the ones that I've liked. Most importantly, if I hadn't read the previous two books, I'd be completely lost. Most times I've experienced, at least with series like this, and romance series, they're connected but also standalones, where you could easily pick up a book like the Brown sisters. You could pick up Take a Hit, Danny Brown, without reading Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and still be able to follow and still understand. But so much of the buildup of Bethany and Wes's relationship happens in book 2, in Love Her or Lose Her, when they meet. And once again, while I do appreciate how complicated each character was, I couldn't stand Bethany, which made it hard to read all of her POVs. I did like Wes. I found that I'm not into like age gaps like that. Maybe maybe just because Bethany and I are like the same age, so trying to picture me with a 24-year-old, sorry, this might be slightly spoilery, and then actively dating this man, falling in love with him, and then after a few months getting married to him. So my other real complaint about this was that just once I'd like to read a Tessa Bailey book where the like love interest, what's that, isn't this overly macho alpha guy. I get it. I get that that's what you're into, Tessa, but you know, sensitive guys are hot too, okay? So hopping back to the rest of these are all YA, and this is when things really start to hurt because these are all highly anticipated books that I was hyping up so hard in my head. For the next 3, I'd been duped by beautiful covers. So first and foremost, oh this hurts, is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. I just knew I was gonna love this book. That cover. This book fell so flat for me. I struggled to care about this book. I found myself floating through the book, and by that I mean that there were so many times where I had to go back and reread something I had just read because I felt like I had either skipped a paragraph or a page and didn't understand how I had gotten where I had gotten. Went back and found I hadn't skipped it, I just wasn't retaining the story. The story was hard to retain. These characters were so flat. The book was action, 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 and there was no real emotional development or connection within the characters, let alone between the characters. Saoirse was like all go, but there was no way to actually connect with her or like any seeds of caring planted. We're just told things about her backstory, but it's almost like she doesn't like feel them or experience them, you know? I like that the main relationship in this story is a friendship, that the core of everything that she's doing is for Sengo, even though their friendship is also very flat and I don't believe it or believe in it. The only character in this book that I like is Ian. He's the most interesting character, the only one that elicited any sort of like response for me, really. That being said, book 2 comes out in 2021. I'm probably gonna read it. One, I'm being duped by another beautiful cover, and then the way book 1 ended left enough to be desired to go into book 2. Okay. Ooh, the next 2 are tied. They're tied for second place, for second most disappointing read of the year. I want to talk about Daughters of Enrage by Rennie K. Amayo and also A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. Do you understand how much it pains me to have not one but both of these books on this list? My god. Now if you are not new here, you will have seen my little rant about A River of Royal Blood. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. I should probably take notes of the videos I'm saying. I'm gonna link down below. God. Okay, let me talk about Daughters of Enrage first, because that's the next one on my list. This is another one. This is a very similar situation actually to Forest of Souls, where I didn't care. I didn't care. I felt no connection to these characters. The only connections to any characters I felt were to side characters. I don't remember their names. The ones in the woods with what's her face, I don't remember which twin. Nothing happened in this book. What happened in this book? If you could tell me what happened in this book, I greatly appreciate it, because I could not tell you. Is there, I don't, y'all, I don't know. I must have blacked out for this book. Let me try to find my notes because I know I read it in February for Blackathon. I read these books in the same month also. Like I said, the whole time I was reading it, I just felt really disconnected from the story as well as the characters. The sisters were really flat, like individually and as a dynamic. I'm sorry. Why do I read this whole flat, disconnected story just for the sisters to, when they finally come together, still not much happens. I know it's setting up for the sequel, which comes out in 2020. Does it come out in 2021? I don't know. I don't really care. I might read it. One, I want to support the author. I think the publishing house is like an indie publishing house, indie black owned publishing house, and like, you know, my gut reaction is to support it. The cover is beautiful. And I just want to see if the story, I don't know. I'm trying to make excuses. Oh, I did say that I feel like I would like an audiobook because the way the story is told does feel like it's being told, the way the story is written feels like it's being told to you, almost like, you know, you're gathered around a fire and, you know, a story is being passed down. I'm not sure if that's the intention, but that's what it felt like. So I feel like listening to the book might be a better experience. In fact, I think I did download the audiobook because I like the narrator. So I might give it another chance before the second book comes out, much like I did for the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Moving on to A River of Royal Blood. Once again, nothing really of consequence happened in this book. I was promised dueling sisters, and that's not what I got. The sisters barely interacted with each other in the book. I felt like at least 75% of this book was build up to something, and because of that, I didn't start even remotely caring about this book until the last like chunk, the last like 25% of the book. But as with all of the last 3 books, I'm probably gonna give the sequel a chance. It's gonna nag at me if I don't, because I'm like, is something gonna happen, or is the story gonna pick up? Are these characters gonna, now that the sisters are like together now, is the plot really gonna kick off? What's happening? But once again, like I said, if you want to hear all my thoughts about that book, there's a video. God, okay. Jesus, take the wheel. And last but not least, the one that pains me the most to be on this list is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Prequel to my favorite series, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Excuse me. I love The Hunger Games with my whole heart. That's no secret. That's like my whole personality. We get it, Amber. As of November of this year, I've read the series 11 times. I have a Hunger Games tattoo. It's my favorite tattoo that I have. Can you please watch? That's FedEx. Is that FedEx for me? I hope not, because I don't have pants on. Once again, there's a whole spoiler-filled vlog of me slowly losing my mind reading this book. I didn't deserve this book. I didn't deserve this book. From the first time I read The Hunger Games, I had been begging for Phoenix books. I mentioned this recently in some video. I have a whole idea for a Finnick Odair trilogy, Suzanne. My business email's down below. We can chat. There are so many other characters that I would have loved a prequel from. Not just Finnick, not just because I'm biased and I love Finnick with my whole heart, and there's a chance that if I ever have a child, their name's going to be Finnick, but we could have had Haymitch, Say, let's go over the list. Say it with me, kids. Hamish, Joanna, Mags. Who else does a Cinna? Would have been a really interesting story to see what led him to the rebellion. There is the character in Songbirds and Snakes, Sejanus, whose storyline is more interesting than Snow's, who, if we had, like I said, oh, did I mention that the prequel is the story of Coriolanus Snow for some godforsaken reason? And it's not even that, like, I'm opposed to a villain origin story. I just don't care enough about this villain to have his origin story. I don't care what led Snow to this point. Also, the story really didn't tell me anything new or important about him. Anyway, there's a character, Sejanus, whose storyline, if we had to have a prequel from the 10th Hunger Games and the story be from about a mentor in that games, I feel like his story would have been so much more interesting. And then we could have also had him telling us about Snow in his youth, right? Someone who knew him, went to school with him, was friends with him, and then tell us how he became who we knew him as, right? I have all these ideas but can't even write my own book. It's a conversation for another day. The love story, the only thing I enjoyed about this book was all of the references to the original trilogy and being like, oh, I get it, oh my god, the hanging tree, oh my god, this is how these dots are connected. I feel like Suzanne was trying too hard to parallel, in some aspects, Snow's story to Katniss. Don't ever insult my girl like that in your life. Yeah, oh my god. Every time I mention this book, I get like full body hot flashes. What did I do to you, Miss Collins, to deserve that? I can't, it's not even enough to ride the nostalgia train for me, honestly. I didn't deserve it. I really did not deserve that. All I've done is love your little books. At the end of the day, I don't understand the purpose of the book. I don't understand what I was supposed to get out of the book. I did like that Tigress was a character. I feel like we still didn't get, all I really wanted from Tigress's character was to understand what led her to become the Tigress that we know her as in Mockingjay. Didn't get that. Didn't find out why they hate each other. And the last thing I'll say is I just felt like this book was so heavily padded for some reason. Getting to the end of the book became so tedious, such a task, and 10 out of 10 would not recommend. From this point on, I think prequels scare me. So those are the 7 most disappointing reads of 2020. That hurt. God. Okay, let me know what your most disappointing worst reads of 2020 were and why. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching however many videos you've watched this year. Thank you just for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your thumbs. There have been many a time when I didn't feel like doing YouTube anymore. I'm still battling that, if I'm being honest. We can talk about that at another time. But I do appreciate everyone who is here, who's stuck around, who engages in this content. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down here so you can follow me, and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon.